was up to go eat, mate. Walks into the wee kind of local butcher's that sells hot rolls, and the guy who just burst out the door, the butcher, the big steak he's on, he's like, fucking hell, Gary Faulds.
Oh, man.
I was swinging down the cheese and people go like, Gary!
Welcome back to the Glasgow podcast. A very short notice one tonight, but I'm absolutely buzzing. I've got Gary Faulds with me tonight. Gary, how you doing, mate?
I'm great, mate. I was going to hold Affair no talk just to get you the beer, but I thought I can't do that to him. I'm only 2 hours late to answer the phone call.
That's all right. We got there in the end. You're obviously a busy man. Don't want to call you a celebrity because I know you don't like that term.
I'm not a celebrity, mate. This is the thing. Like, there's always like, see, every time I call this, it doesn't bother me. I'm happy to get the bragging rights, but see my pals, mate, it's straight in the WhatsApp chat. Oh my God, mate, you're a rat. The sun calls you a celebrity. Oh, you're no, like. So the amount of grief that I get caught when I get called famous or a celebrity is no real. It's not even me trying to be humble. I'm just trying to prevent the boys in the group chat terrorising me. You know what I mean?
Oh, brilliant! Honestly, I mean, looking at it, obviously you've been in the army. You're doing the comedy stuff. You've been truck driving. You're doing your apprenticeship. You've done more things than most people do in a lifetime.
That's it. I've got a catalogue of jobs.
Aye, that's it. I mean, I suppose the thing for me that I'm kind of curious about, and some people might be aware, but for anybody listening that isn't, how did the comedy start for you? Where did that begin?
So I started comedy just purely. I was trying to cut a long story short, but my dad had passed away, and had kind of inherited social anxiety just because of dealing with the grief. So a lot of mental health stuff. I'll talk about this, but. It was a coping mechanism. So as weird as it sounds, I had social anxiety, so I didn't leave the house for ages, and I had to build myself back up to get back into society and rebuild my confidence. So when I started getting really, really back to myself and confident again, I started to set myself wee challenges, and one of them was public speaking. Now, I absolutely love stand-up comedy. Massive fan of Billy Kirkwood, the Scottish comedian, and I used to go to his shows. So I challenged myself to go and do a wee open mic gig. It's called like a gong show. So what happens is you get 2 minutes to say whatever you want. If the audience think you're shite, they gong you off, and you've got to last 5 minutes to win it, kind of thing. So I had went on and done about 26 seconds, and they gonged me off. So I was fucking horrendous. But when they had gonged me off, I went, fucking hell, all that fear. I didn't realise I was a shite, and it got a massive laugh. So they decided just to kind of keep it going. So they're like, no, we take the curtains back, let them keep going. And I didn't win the gong, but I managed to do the 5 minutes. And I just spoke about, and so I wrote a set, and it just wasn't funny. So when they had let me undone the cards again, I just spoke about how much I built myself up to get on this stage and how my day was going, and people just loved it. And I think that's when I realised that my job in comedy wasn't to tell jokes because they were fucking terrible. my career was going to be as a storyteller because I just spoke about my day, mate, and people loved it. You know what I mean? I was like, I've done 15 shites before this gig, and you know what I mean? Like, for 17 panic attacks. Like, people just took to it, and that's when I realised that my calling was going to be a storyteller.
And do you get that? Do you get that fear before you get to a live audience?
Mate, every gig,
yeah.
I'm ripping a fear, mate. It's unreal. It's never changed for me, and I don't know what it is. People are like, oh, it's adrenaline, you're supposed to enjoy it. Enjoy it. See, when I done the Armadillo, that was my biggest gig I'd ever done. I done my solo show there, and 3,000 people, mate, was just unbelievable, mate.
Yeah.
3,000, and I was talking to a reporter after it, and she was like, so how did you feel about the Armadillo? And I was like, I'm going to be honest, Stacey, right? Last is at the Times. I says, I just can't believe 3,000 people find me funny. That was the bigger shock than anything. But listen, when the countdown came on, it was like 10, 9, and the place had just started going nuts. And I was like, fucking hell. And I spewed up as I was coming on the stage. I kind of ran to a bin and spewed up. So it was like, it hit 0, and they were all waiting for me. So it was like another 12 seconds, and a bit of sick in my mouth for it. I spewed out, you know what I mean? So I was just, but it's, the fear never goes, and maybe that's the thing you enjoy about it. But once you get your first laugh, it all goes.
That's what I was going to say. When you're out on stage, does it disappear?
It goes, mate. Once it's weird. It's a weird feeling. Maybe because I've got anxiety as well, things are a bit more heightened. So when I go on stage, mate, I'm like panic attack. I'm sweating. I can't breathe. my agent or my wife, she'll be standing at the side of the stage and she'll be like, you're all right, kind of building me up. But as soon as I get a laugh, mate, everything goes. It's wild. It just completely goes, and I'm back to normal. Back to normal Gary, as if I'm sitting in front of a live video on a motor. Bizarre, mate. It's mental.
And that's the thing, I suppose, obviously, from your point of view as well. I know you're saying there, like, you'd sold out the Armadillo, and most of your dates you put out, you do sell out, and you've got, I don't know, I think that you had 30-odd thousand people on Instagram that follow you, and you've got Facebook as well. And do you still pinch yourself that you've got that many people watching you all the time and commenting on your videos and
real,
things?
Mate. Yeah, honestly, mate, it's not real. It's weird because I just see myself as normal, and I'm not trying to play the whole humble kilt here, but I don't see myself as a celebrity. So when somebody stops me in the street and they're like, "Oh, big man, I fucking love your videos," and all that, like, you cheer me up, I still get the same feeling I did when that very first happened. See that pure shock, like, fucking hell, somebody recognised me. Like, I get that. I don't know if like real celebrities get that and they just kind of get on with it, but it's amazing. And I love speaking to people as well, mate. Saying something comes up to the street and say, "Oh, your video cheered me up," or "I listened to your video," because I talk a lot about mental health, which you probably know. Somebody will say, "Oh, I got a lot for that video and it really helped," or "It didn't help, made me worse," kind of thing. But
yeah, and you're quite obviously in your videos as well, and I know you touched on it there. You're very honest, and with you are, even when you're posting things like that as well, you probably share things that a lot of people in your position wouldn't share for fear of being judged, but you're kind of balls out, just no, I'll tell it the way it is. But do you feel better for that, or is it just something inside you that's just, you need to be honest with people all the time?
I spoke to a comedian who's probably one of the biggest in Scotland, and I was talking to him about it, and he was saying, "Oh, your posts are very different." And he was kind of saying it was good on you, mate. But I was talking to someone about him when he sells all these gigs out, and he's like, "I get imposter syndrome," and I totally get that. And it's like, as if you don't deserve it. Like you're saying, the 35,000 Instagram followers and the Facebook followers, like, I get that. I get pure imposter syndrome. So I've always kept myself level for that reason, because I've always got a vision that one day I'm just not going to have gigs. And I don't want to turn around and everybody to go, "Oh, mate, you turned into a complete wank." You know what I mean? Like, so I've always kind of just spoke as if it's my normal Facebook page. And I think when you've got a page like that and you can reach so many people, there's got to be something good's got to come from it. I mean, I'm an absolute crackpot. You know, I'm no perfect. I don't want to go on Facebook and social media and play myself as somebody that I'm not. Sit me a Rolex when I can't buy fucking pasta. You know what I mean? Like, you see a lot of that. A lot of influencers are like, "Oh my god, look at my Bentley," and it's like, just hired that out for the day, mate. You know what I mean? And I think my kind of circle of friends and family, I don't think they would allow me to be any different. I think I'm quite lucky in that sense. I've got a good family and kind of social network. I think my mates would say to me, "Listen, you're being a bit fucking fake. Going to sort that out." I come from a good friend zone kind of thing.
And I think that's probably what the people that follow you appreciate as well, because I think it is that you don't show that lifestyle of, "Oh, everything's fucking brilliant," and as you said, like that whole Instagram influencer of, "Look at me doing all this." You do put on when you're having a shit time and when things aren't going brilliant. And I love looking at when you put something like that on, like, folk get right behind you and can I see going through the list of like posts that people give you, and they're offering you like encouragement. Or see when you were talking about the apprenticeship thing a while back, and all the folk that were replying going, "I get in touch with me," I'm like, that's brilliant. It's just that relationship you've got with your fans.
People want to help you, and it's always been like that. And the guy that I'm working for James, I know he won't mind, but James had lost his daughter and stuff, so James had knew who I was before. Obviously, I knew who James was, the guy that's employed me for the apprenticeship. And he had went through a hard time, and I think I done a video a couple of years ago, and it was I was in the bottom, mate. I just had enough. It was like everybody was seen as a millionaire, like everybody, and I think that's when I first started to feel the kind of effects of fame. Like, I lost all my privacy, and I was in the bottom, mate, and I just burst into tears, and I was like, I just can't fucking do this anymore. Like, I was genuinely struggling. And then obviously we set up the men's mental health group. So James was watching my page about then, and he'd said to me when he gave me the job, he went, the first thing he says was, he went, "I don't want you to share my business. I don't want you to talk about business online. This is a favour for a guy. Like, this is genuine. You don't need to do anything for me. Just do your apprenticeship and do it well." But he had leaned into my page when he was struggling a wee bit, and it's just, and obviously it's nice when people, like, I know a lot about James now, and I know a lot of stuff that he's been through, but it's just not for me to say. But to think that I had that effect on him and anybody else is just phenomenal, mate. It's not something that I thought one day I would do. I never thought I'd become a comedian or a celebrity or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'd have been a drug dealer or something. Like I didn't think. I thought that'd have been the only way I could have been successful in life.
Yeah.
So it's bizarre to think where I'm, and every day, mate, I could, and I say this all the time. If I died tomorrow, mate, I'd be happy as fuck. Other than leaving my wains, but the sense of achievement, mate, I'll probably never achieve things like this in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. See with the comedy, was there like a point for you where you kind of started to realise in your own head that this is something that's going to be big for me, or it's got potential to be big? Was there a kind of moment for you?
I think when I done the very first live video, it was the one I had done. Sorry, mate, I need to put my PlayStation remote. I was playing Call of Duty, mate, and things pure vibrating on the table. Shit myself here, mate. I'm terrified of ghosts because it's Halloween. But when I done the first live video in my taxi, I joined Pure Gym to lose a bit of weight, and my wife was like, right, get to the gym. It was like 6 a.m, and I was secret eating, mate. So I was going to the gym doing a workout, sending her a selfie with the gym clothes that she put on us to make sure that was gone, because she's worried about my eating. So I was going to the gym and then jumped across to McDonald's, mate, and getting a fucking double sausage McMuffin meal. So it was like counteracting the gym. So I was just sitting, mate. I was just sick of everything. I was like, no, what fuck that? And the live video thing had just came out, and I think I had like 2,000 followers. But every Pure Gym's got a McDonald's outside it. Like, you come out the gym and the first thing you smell is a sausage McMuffin, like, and it was just a pure rant, mate. There wasn't anything funny about it. I was just pissed off. Just a wee fat guy trying to do his best, and I just can't get by McDonald's. Like, I've got to drive by it on the way in and drive by it on the way out. So I'd done the video, put my phone in the drawer, and I had like 13 likes or something. And for me, 13 likes was a lot, mate, because there's 10% of your page. That's how it works. And I was like, fucking hell, that's brilliant. So put the glove box, done my shift, and I came home. Then Ashley was standing at the door, and she's like, have you been trying to phone you all night? What the fuck's wrong with you, know that? And I'm like, oh no, don't say somebody's died. And she's like, no, it's good. Have you seen your Facebook? And I'm like, no. And she pulled out her phone, she showed me her phone, and it was like fucking 6,000 shares or something. You know what I mean, mate? And I was like, that's not right, man. If I'd done that, I thought I'd been exposed or something. I'm like, oh, fuck. Then you pack your bags and move house, you know what I mean? Like, I used to sell fiver bits as a wee guy, you know what I mean? I was like, I've been exposed to a drug dealer back in the days, like. And it wasn't, mate. It was generally just that page, that video had went fucking viral. And I had went to work the next day, and every customer, mate, that got in my taxis, like, big man, you the wee fat guy, does he mad videos? And it was just, that was the moment. And it's never changed since then. There's nowhere I can go. We went to Cyprus, mate, and I went to do a gig. Obviously, I was in the army, so I went to do a gig for the soldiers with Laugh Out Loud Comedy in Paphos. And I was in Paphos, mate. I was sitting in a restaurant in the middle of fucking Cyprus, mate, and it was like where the Cypriots go. So it's not like a restaurant with the hotel people going. It's like a proper restaurant with just all full of Cypriots. Aye. And the wee guy came up and he's like, oh my God, I love your videos. And he started rhyming off my videos, and I'm sitting in fucking Cyprus like that. How the fuck does he know what I'm saying?
Brilliant.
Because I'm a proper mental case. And it happened when we went to Go Ape, me and Ashley, one time. And it was, I don't know what it's called. It's fucking, wherever Go Ape is, that wee tune.
Oh, Aberfoyle.
Aberfoyle, mate. We're in Aberfoyle. And Ashley didn't like the whole fame thing, mate. She didn't bother with people. It was just like, when you're eating your dinner and somebody talks to me, mate, I'm not going to no talk to somebody. If somebody comes up to me and says, Gary, they get my time, mate, because they probably shared the video, probably bought a ticket, so it's cause of them arm with arm. So everybody gets my time, mate, regardless of what I'm doing. But Ashley didn't like it. She's like, can we just go somewhere for the day? And it was like the start of it, so everybody was on me. And I was like, when we go to Go Ape, fucking Aberfoyle, nobody knows me in Aberfoyle. And it was up to Go Ape, mate, walks into the wee kind of local butchers that sells hot rolls. And the guy had just burst out the door, the butcher, the big steak he's on, and he's like, fucking hell, it's Gary Faulds.
Oh, man.
I was swinging down the cheese and people go like, Gary! It was fun, mate. I love it, mate. And people talk, honestly, it doesn't affect me in any way. I met Jim Davison, mate, and he absolutely stubbed me one day, and I was like, fucking prick.
Oh, man.
And the guy was like, you know, mate, I just patched his mate, just fucking digging his up your beach. Then, and I've always said since then, see if I ever, that was just start comedy. I didn't think it'd ever happen, but I was always like, if I ever become a celebrity, anybody talks to me, they're getting my time. So it's a pure standard that I hold to myself.
I suppose it's hard for people running about you though, if you're always kind of having to drag yourself away.
But it's hard for Ashley. The Waynes love it. The Waynes all get happy, then proud. You know what I mean? So, but I would never stop that. And it's a thing like Ashley became used to it, and I kind of at the start it was just pure. She wasn't going through it, so it was very alien to Ashley. You know what I mean? But when I had sat her down and says, "Listen, these people are genuinely putting fucking food on your table. Like, if they want 5 minutes, they get 5 minutes. If they want a night out, we'll just go to Spain." And no Cyprus because the guy knows us.
Exactly.
Messy restaurant. But we became very used to it, and as a family, we just got used to it, and we did. Everybody, when I sat down with the dude, and something my older Wayne's a bit arrogant sometimes. I'm like, listen, guys, like you can't just fucking snub people like that. It's very important to give people the time of day. And now, mate, when I'm out with the Wayne's, my oldest Wayne's, like somebody says hello, how are you last? Just go sit in the motor, mate. She'll say hi, Anne, and I'll just talk to everybody. And it's a fucking nightmare for them to talk to me, so don't shut up.
But I suppose it's good as well because you're accessible to people, and obviously if they do see you, and sometimes they might just give you a shout or as a 5 minute conversation, as you said earlier, that could make a massive difference to somebody, that 5 minute conversation.
And it's not about getting sales or anything like that. It's about that person could be having a shite day and they've just met a celebrity. You know what I mean? And if I go, oh fuck off, mate, I'm with my family, they probably ruin their day and their week.
Aye.
It doesn't cost anything, mate, to give somebody 5 minutes of your time. Like,
no, totally agree with you there. Obviously, I know you'd said at the start that you used to watch Billy Kirkwood quite a lot. Was there comedians that kind of inspired you when you were coming through, or people that you looked up to at that point?
Billy Kirkwood, massively, mate. Billy Kirkwood was a massive influence. Billy Kirkwood, Raymond Mearns, Janie Godley, like all the kind of solid kind of comics. But Raymond Mearns and Billy, mate, being the biggest. But Raymond Mearns, to this day, mate, and I don't understand why he's not doing arena tours, mate, because he's hands down funnier than any big comedian I know and any big comedian that I've ever seen. So I don't understand it, mate, because he's fucking frightening. But Billy Kirkwood took a lot of time for me and gave me all the guidance I needed. I got to support Billy at his Glasgow Comedy Festival show when I no long started, maybe 6-7 months in. And for me to be a fan of somebody and then 6-7 months down the line be supporting them at their solo tour, their solo show, at the stand, that gave me a lot of confidence because like maybe I'm better than I could thought I was. But the way I was as a comedian, mate, if any comedians listen to this, I just gigged everywhere, mate. Honestly, like I loved gigging, and I'm still the same to this day. Like my agent's kind of got a grip on me, and he'll be like, "Listen, you can't be doing a 30-seater gig in fucking a pub in Park." Like, you know what I mean? He gets 20% of my money, so he doesn't want fucking £24 as a wage for me doing a gig. But he's kind of got a hold of me now, but still a lot of times I'm like, listen, mate, it's a charity, come on. And I'll just guilt trip the fuck at him so I can do the gig.
What's the best and worst gigs you've done, like for the start to now? We'll go with the worst best first. What's the worst one?
The worst gig I've ever done, I got decked in Manchester. If a guy outside the comedy store gave him a bit of cheek, and it was a King Gong show. And I didn't last the gong. The guy had heckled his mate, and fucking the guy had a girlfriend with him, and she was an absolute supermodel. So the guy was a big animal, not a me. And I had said something about eating salad or something, and the guy's like, "Salad in your dreams, mate." And I was obviously replied, "Mate, if I was going to dream about anything, it'd be bagging you a bird." And it didn't go down too well, mate. So I came out the gig, mate, and the cunt just cracked us out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Man.
So that was my worst gig, and I didn't even get by the 5 minutes, no pointless trip, and I got cracked. But there's been some mental gigs. But my best gig, I would probably say, a three I would pick the Armadillo, obviously, for being my it's like playing at Ibrox or Park Keys, whatever team you support for me. But I would say Inverness and Dundee. Dundee's room is one of the best rooms in theatres in Scotland that I've gigged in. It's only a 400-seater room, but the way it's laid out, it's just, the acoustics, mate, are phenomenal. Still as loud as getting laughs after 3,000 people at the Armadillo.
Wow.
And Inverness, mate, I did Inverness last year. I went up with Daz and my agent and that. We just had a pure boys weekend. Like, no boozing, just gone on a dolphin tour and just doing pure stupid things. But I was in a pure good place, mate, because of that. We gigged in Aberdeen the night before. I had a great day with my pals and great food, and then went down Inverness and smashed it out of the park. And didn't do one bit of material, mate. My watch started buzzing at 60 minutes, and I was like, fuck, I've not done any material. And it was just, and it was a great gig, mate. You know what I mean? Just feeding off the audience, and I'm like that sometimes. I've got a set, but if I go on a gig and you've probably seen the video with the wee guy, the fruit shoot, the guy got out of jail. that done brilliant, but that wee guy, mate, I must have tore into him for 20 minutes solid with the clip it all down, and never tore into him and slagged him, mate. The guy was brilliant, mate, because he was dead honest.
Aye.
And obviously a lot of stuff we did put on, like talk about fucking holding a shop up with a cucumber or something I was saying to him, but it was just gigs like that, mate, are just frightening, and it's not necessarily the room size, your best gigs, and I've realised that. I used to, obviously we're doing Hydro, not next year, but the year after now.
Yeah.
But that's just another gig, mate. It's a great opportunity and great finances for it, but I don't treat it any different to how I would treat a gig in Parkhead at 50 seats. It's the same performance, mate, and you know what I mean?
Aye, surely it must be a pinch yourself moment, but thinking in a year or two's time you're going to be walking out of the Hydro, like from where you kind of started to that comedy club and getting gonged after 26 seconds.
Even look at it, mate. Honestly, seeing I drive by in the van, mate, I try my hardest not look at the Hydro. I just get racked with nerves, mate, and that's what happens. Same with Armadillo, mate. When I see Armadillo, mate, I'm ripping a fear. But it's just one of the things that I don't know if all comedians like that, so I don't really speak to many about certain gigs.
Yeah.
But I've got a constant fear of gigging. But once I get on stage, I'm fine.
And is that always? Does it matter on the sides of the crowd, or do you just always have that in you?
It's the same. That's what I'm saying. It's the same level of fear. If I gig to 13 people or 1,300 people, mate, I'm still fucking shite myself.
Aye.
And it's weird because you think like, it's a wee gig at 100 seats. That's fucking easy. But it's no, mate. As I say, mate, I don't know if anybody else feels the same about that in comedy, but it's a shite bag, I think.
And I know
that imposter syndrome. You always go out and you're like, what if I'm not funny? What if they just all look at us? Because there's been gigs when I was an upcoming comedian. It's different because when you do a solo show, everybody's invested in you, mate, and they're there to see you, and I could walk on most stages and just fart in the mic and it'd be fucking some buzz. But seeing you're doing comedy clubs, mate, and the audience are your audience, and you're not funny, you know what I mean? And you go into a stage and you're like, right, a fucking bunch of virgins, what's happening? And then 300 people just stare at you like, who's he calling a fucking virgin? You know what I mean?
What do you do with that bit? See if it's just silence. What's in your thought process at that point?
Oh, I'm fucked. I'm dying here. You know what I mean? Everybody's probably going on Facebook and Google. I just see this guy Gary Faulds and he was fucking shite. Like they're going to phone my nana, name and shame. You know what I mean? But it's there's a video. That's the big thing. Like you're like some cunt's video in this gig, man. It's going to go viral. It's heavy shite. But oh mate, it's the worst thing ever. I've probably died about 5 or 6 times out of 200 gigs, man, and it's the most brutal thing ever. And I don't care what any comedian says. Seeing you see somebody dying in your home, man, it's the funniest fucking thing in the world. just seeing somebody drowning, there ain't confidence, man. It's like fuck. And it's always good when it's somebody thinks are better than us, and then they are. Seeing somebody fucking smash us tonight, then they get out, don't get one laugh, and it's just fucking the big grass ball going by the stage.
But surely that must be a rite of passage for comedians to go. You've got to go through that, surely, to get to the other side of it.
I had died really, really badly in Aberdeen, I think it was, and maybe Raymond or Billy Cutwood it was with me, and I had proper died, mate. Like I was ashamed of myself. I was like, I need to quit comedy. I need to fucking chuck this, and it's brutal, mate. Because seeing you gig somewhere like Aberdeen and you die in your hole, you've got a 4-hour drive back, mate. With comedians that have all smashed it, all talk about how easy the crowd was, and you're sitting there like, oh fuck, it wasn't easy for me. Like my mic must not be working. There's times when I've been doing a gig, mate, dying in my hole, and I've tapped the mic to make sure it was on. And somebody shouted, "Die, mate, it's defo on." I'm just shite. I mean, it was fucking. So I came back in that car journey, mate. And obviously, everybody had smashed it apart from me. I just didn't pick that. See, the thing is, mate, it's never the audience. If somebody goes to a comedy club, mate, they're there to laugh. People don't go to comedy clubs, mate, to no laugh. Right. Unless they're fucking evil and they're obviously wee fat Scottish boys dying. But I had been up, everybody had smashed it, and I just knew it. I had to ask a question because I'm very like that. I'm like, I'll take criticism. I'm no blind, you know what I mean? Right. I just said in the car, and I was like, listen, obviously I just died in my fucking hole, and after the boys had laughed for a meal and a half solid, they told me what I had done wrong, and Raymond, I think it was Raymond or Billy, I can't remember, but one of them says to me, see when you die or you struggle on stage, that is the only time you learn. Because like you said, mate, when I was in that motor, I was straight in the rope pad, and I was like, that joke's going in the bin, that's going in the bin. Actually, fuck it, this joke bit's going in the bin. I'm starting again. But it's true that the gigs that you struggle and the gigs that you have a wee wave, that's the gigs where you learn the most. You're having a great gig, like Inverness. Like, I didn't know anything. At my age, it was like, what material did you just do there? And I'm like, I've not got a fucking clue. it was all off the cuff. You know what I mean? So stuff like that, you don't realise, you don't remember the good gigs. You only remember the bad gigs, and that's when you learn.
Aye, for the experience, definitely. And
probably the same as football.
Aye,
probably football players will be the same. A bad tackle, and they'll be like, fuck, I should have fucking put another 2 steps and then dug into him.
Aye, and you've got 40, 50,000 absolutely ripping you.
Oh, your own fans, imagine that. Honestly, I was thinking about that, like, it's funny, because I always like the Celtic players, and I'm a Rangers fan, but it's like Lee Griffiths, like, fucking, guy's a phenomenal player, and people just give him stick, and it's like, fucking leave a guy alone, man. Like, he turns up and just rips it apart and scores goals, and then people still rip into him, and it's his own fans, and I'm like, he's no struggles, and you know what I mean? I don't know how football players cope with it. I'd love to get a chat with a football player and just ask him, like, is there somebody with anxiety, like, nothing to do with comedy, just say, how the fuck do you cope with it? You're inside, fucking shout the ball at you.
Aye, mental strength must be immense for somebody at that level. It's crazy. And you can't win, because if you come out and say something, you just get shot down for that as well, so you're in a no-win.
It's different, because as a comedian, somebody shouts your shite, mate, I can turn around and give dogs abuse, you know what I mean?
Aye.
And have an absolute fucking heckle off with them and have a laugh and make it funny, but I can't imagine fucking a football player turned around, like, alright, you fucking fat body bastard, you go shite.
Oh, you'd be hounded.
What a sang with him. Aye.
Crazy. And obviously, you were saying there, when you've had the kind of gigs where it's went tits up and you've had people speaking to you, is there any bits of advice that you've had, like, in the times, or even in general when you were starting, that's kind of stuck with you, like, through to now?
Always play the room was one of my big ones. Always try not going first. Watch what the other comedians are talking about, and that was a great tip. I'll always go in the room first and look at the room, watch them all coming in. I was in the army, so I kind of profile people a wee bit. So when people come into a room, I'll be looking at their body language and how they're behaving. And what that had done for me was I started to figure out, see what a stag night. I knew who the stag was. I'm like, right, red shirt, stag night. And I would just go on stage. The stag nights just take your gigs, mate. And I'd go on stage and I'd be like, right, you're the red shirt, you're clearly a virgin, mate. Is it your stag night? And then just have a pure laugh with them. And so we always play the room is a big one. Watch what other comedians are doing and learn. Always stay back for the headliner. Like, I would still do that now. See if I was doing a gig now and as successful as I am in terms in Scotland. If I done a gig and somebody was headlining and I opened the show as a favour for the club, like, I would still stay back and watch the headliner, because you're never done learning.
Yeah.
Comedy always changes, and more so now. Like, if you look at John Davidson, 30 years ago, he was doing material that now you would get fucking shot for. So you need to change constantly. You need to constantly change and speak about what's right. You know what I mean? You can't always be doing gay jokes or midget jokes, because in these days it's not right to be doing that kind of stuff. Like, these are people you're talking about, and I'm proud of where we are as a society. I'm extremely proud of where we are, and we can help people, and people can come out. And so, as a comedian, you've always got to be going with the people. You can't just stick to your fucking nasty roots and do it for years. So always reading the room, which is important.
And I think that's the thing, as you said there. I think there's probably some comedians who don't really move with the times, and they've probably just lost so many people off the back of it, because they still stick with that same routine that's maybe 10, 20 years. And they're super funny people, mate.
Aye, exactly. They're talented comedians in the fucking world, and they just can't change with the rest of the world, mate. And that's the sad bit, because they just die out and burn away. I live with every year. Like, next year's tour, once that's done, I'll see where I'm going with it. I'm never, comedy doesn't control me the way it maybe has 2 years ago, where it was like my life and breath. Now I'm kind of like, I could walk away from this quite easily, and just blend in with my family and be a normal guy. But I just take every year as it goes, and I read articles. That's a big thing that everybody finds funny. Being a BAM, you know what I mean? The arm, like, people don't think I can read, which is funny, but I buy 3 newspapers every day. And I read, I spend all day, and sometimes I'm feeling game, mate. I buy 4 or 5. But I'll buy different newspapers and just read every day and read material and just absorb my mind. But it's different. I find it different reading a paper to looking at an article on your phone. There's something about printed press that I love. And because I read articles and I read different, so I'll read like the Sun and I'll get fucking the independent newspapers, you know what I mean? Like the Daily Record, the Glasgow Times. I change my papers as much as I don't agree with somebody what they're saying. It's still good to have a good idea of vision of what the world's talking about.
Yeah.
So when I do material, I try and make sure it's fitting for that part of society. It's not just fucking stupid jokes that people go, mate, stop doing that 20 years ago, what you talk about. But it's good because I've got a wealth of knowledge when it's come to like topical material. So if I'm doing a gig somewhere and I'll be like, oh fucking hell, I've seen that guy. So if I was doing a gig in Bradford tonight, I'd be talking about the guy that got the jail for shagging 47 chickens, you know what I mean? Every time I see that news article pop up, all I think is about chicken nuggets. So you can, topical's great because people can relate to it. And obviously COVID's going to be a big talking point as well.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll go back.
And do you, obviously, I know you're saying there about the papers and that, where else do you kind of pull material from? Is it just everyday random stuff?
I'm a storyteller, so day-to-day life. The way my shows will work is the first 20 minutes is the show. I do a 60-minute set, so the first 20 minutes will be getting to know the audience, talking to the front row. If the front row is not playing game, then I'll crack into topical material about that area, or I'll always have something about the area. But when I do a gig, mate, if I'm doing a gig in like Inverness or Dundee or wherever I'm, mate, I'll go and explore that day. I'll go up with the veins and obviously me and Ashley had split up for a long time, but we're back together again. So the plan is next year to go and stay in hotels for the whole tour. So we'll go and explore the city and go to a museum. And so it means when I'm doing a gig, I've got a knowledge of the area. So I can. So there's 400 people for Fife in the room. I can talk about Fife for 20 minutes, maybe more. And then I go into my storytelling. So my storytelling's always how the year was before. So next year's show will be about this year, everything that went and happened this year. Then the show after it'll be about next year. Kind of thing, you get me? So I'm always talking about the year before, and I find being a storyteller is easy because my set changes all the time. The joke or the punchline never changes, but the build-up and the style changes as well because it's just out of my head. I'm just talking about it like as I would talk to somebody in the street about it. So it's very easy to be a storyteller. People, every comedian's got their different Comedian's Day puns, Comedian's Day jokes, character acts, but obviously I found out quite quick that I was a good storyteller because I could just fucking riff off. I could just pick up a menu, mate, read out a menu and try and make it funny. And I've done that. I've done that a few gigs, mate. I picked in a mad fucking weird restaurant. I've picked up their menu and I started reading stuff out and it's got a laugh, you know what I mean?
Aye, just different
shouting
things.
About the Fox couscous and the fucking West End and all that. Did you know what couscous is? Like, you know what I mean? Stop making that word, you fucking dafties. That's not a thing. Like, aye, mate, couscous, we've gone for hundreds of years, mate. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, tomato, what the fuck's a tomato? It's just fucking, but aye, I enjoy being a storyteller. So my material's always life, but I do a lot of topical stuff at the start of the show, so I get all that through newspapers and just watching the band pots I work with as well, like the boys. That's
what I was going to say, that if they don't get the fear that you're just going to use them for your shows or material at some point.
The boys have no fear at all, mate. The only fear they've got is me no dying. You know what I mean? It's just I get absolutely tortured on a daily basis. Like I don't even tell everybody half of the stuff. The stuck fucking. It's just they must. I don't know what it is. Right? I love the boys to bits, and I get them back, mate, because I'm equal as evil. You know what I mean? But they stuck fucking that big silver, like masking tape. I bet the other day trying to put a wire through a ceiling, and they stuck a big massive bit to my back. Obviously, I did have a hairy back. So I had to go home, back to my mum, big fucking square of masking tape in my back. She's like, how the fuck giving it like my 8 porous aphis, you know what I mean? So the terror's endless, mate. It never stops.
Do you enjoy that, but?
I enjoy it, mate. It's banter, mate. I was in the army for 8 years, you know what I mean? So
true.
I'm used to it. But at the end of the day, mate, I looked about in the toilet for 2 hours, so I got my own back, and I wasn't letting him out, mate. You had to get somebody to let him out. I wasn't going to. I'd have left him out the next day, mate, easily. But no remorse whatsoever, mate. Like, you could have died in that toilet, I wouldn't have give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm back at my ma's getting fucking masking tape put off my back.
Exactly.
You can get like a workie's wax.
Was it agony? I mean?
Oh, mate, it was fucking horrible. And my mum was doing it dead slow on it. I think she meant it, you know what I mean? But she's at the bam up all the time and all. Alright, so took her about 3 years to peel it off, but I was just screaming like a weird. Neighbours must have thought she was trying to kill us, mate. Another day, our boys lactates, mate. I had that wire and I grabbed the wire, mate, and it was fucking live, nearly blew me through the room. And I'm like, what'd you do that for? He went, I didn't think you would grab it. And I went, you fucking holding me a wire, mate. Holding onto a ladder, just kind of electrified, you know what I mean? But
oh, bro. Well, let's hope you make it to the hydro. Jeez, oh man.
Mate, I know, honestly. Either that or I've been in jail for killing man of them, you know what I mean? Hopeless is the one of their podcasts. You end up Netflix like playing back what I said. I'm going to kill the apprentices.
I getting interviewed. I was worried about Gary at that point. I knew there was something happening.
I could tell his rage. I think the guy stuck the masking tape to his back. What they done to me on Friday, mate? I left stupidly left my van open, mate. I've got a van to the work, and I was in like Dalkeith in Edinburgh, so there's no cunt's going to break into a van in Dalkeith, mate, because they're all too busy walking the fucking golden dogs. You know what I mean? It's like Richie's family. You know what I mean? And I left the van open, mate. Bounced in the van, shut the door, mate. The worst smell I've ever smelt in my life, mate. Pure shite, like pure sewage and shite mixed in. I was burst out the van gagging. They're all laughing. What they had done was they had sellotaped a stink bomb to the bottom inside of my door, and didn't shut. So when I bounced in the van, slammed the door shut, I'd smashed the stink bomb. And so wee things like that, I'm quick to it, mate. I'm getting quick.
Brilliant.
I'm an ex-soldier, mate. I can inflict pain on these boys that have never had in their lives. So I'll start waterboarding somebody soon. You know what I mean? I'll get them on the road. There's no limits to me, mate. I'm evil. You know what I mean? Like
dog eat dog, innit?
A dog eat dog, mate. My ma gave me a fright 5 years ago, mate, and I'm still getting her frights to this day.
Oh, tremendous. Right, let's get back to semi-serious. The thing that I was wanting to ask you, and a few people, I'd said to you obviously before we started, a few people had messaged me saying, "Oh, Gary Faulds would be brilliant, get him on," and it was people who were wanting to get started in comedy and they didn't really know where to go or how to go about it. So see from your point of view, what advice would you give to somebody who's maybe thinking about it or sitting in that position of getting a bit of traction online, about getting into it? What would you say to them?
Well, there's not much. You can't go to any club gigs in there. So in the meantime, I would tell somebody to write down as much material as they can. Either physically write it or get on a Word document on a computer and just write things that you think are funny and just keep a constant note of that. Obviously the standard then like kind of wee open spot gigs, but hopefully the gigs go back soon. But what I would recommend somebody today is going to a course in comedy. There's a comedian called Viv G and John O'Brien, both run different courses in Glasgow. And what you do in that course, you take a material to the course, they teach you how to tell stand up, how to be a comedian, how to your stagecraft, and I wish I had done that. See, when I had started, I learned the hard way, so I learned to be dying in my hole and having shite gigs, and but I would definitely recommend to anybody, like if you can get an online comedy course, go and do it. There's nothing wrong with it. Like Viv G's course, what she does is like it's 5 weeks every Wednesday night.
Right.
You do 4 weeks where you learn to write your jokes, how to structure a joke, because it's not like when you write a Facebook status. There's ways of telling jokes. Yeah. And then at the end of the course, they do a gig to other family and friends, and it just pops that cherry like the pure fear. So I'd recommend that. But right now during COVID, I'd be writing down as much as you can, just writing everything down, everything you think's funny, and just keep cataloguing it. And I still do that to this day. I probably write about fucking 1,000 words a day. Like it's just like, so when I read the papers every day, I'll pick 3 or 4 stories and I'll just write jokes about them. And if they surface again, I don't know. But if my iMac went, mate, I'd be fucked because everything's on that. You know what I mean?
You just like your material.
Because a lot of the papers are great. Go and buy 3 papers, 4 papers, and just make sure it's papers that it doesn't need to be politically aligned to you. Like I buy the Sun, I buy the Record, I buy the Times, I buy the National. So I don't just buy one left organisation paper or one right. You know what I mean? I just buy. You want as much knowledge as you can get, and that's a great way to do it because you can see 2 of the same stories with different articles, different fucking ways of putting that across, and that's healthy as well, isn't it? Because you're getting an idea for everybody, not just the one side of society.
No, definitely.
But buy newspapers, write a joke down every day, or write a story down every day, and write about your granny getting fingered at the lap dancing. I don't know, whatever's in your families. I've got a pure fucked up family, mate, so I've probably got material to last me forever.
I think most people in Glasgow would be able to relate to that, to be fair.
And I'm not everybody thinks you've got to be the funniest person ever. You've no to be a comedian. Like I'm not the funny man in my group. I'm the man that's just fucking stupid. You know what I mean? I'm the man that's getting terrorised all the time. But I've got my pal Gary Brady, 10 times funnier than me, mate. I'm telling you now, if you were on a stage, mate, he would crush it. I've never encouraged him to be a comedian just in case he does do that. In the pub, mate, he's Jackie Ladd, mate. He runs the roost, and we just all sit and watch him. And so you don't need to be the funniest person in the world. Comedy's great. There's a bit on stage for everybody. You don't need to be a storyteller. There's a guy, fucking Jim Smith. He plays a kazoo. and he's been gone for about fucking 40 years. This guy, he's all this guy in comedy. Like Frankie Boyle talks about him, Game Mearns and Bridges all talk about him. He's a legend in the circuit, but he doesn't do it to get fame or money. He just does it because it is a great thing, mate.
Aye, just enjoys it.
The gig's more addictive than the money. The money's great, and when you're in my position, no right now, but in a normal world, it's amazing to have the finances and do it as a full-time job, but just being on a stage and making people laugh, mate, there's something special about that. There's bigger payment in that and I like to think it when I'm doing a club gig or I'm doing any gig, that maybe there's somebody in this room tonight that's had a right fucking horrendous time. Somebody's died or they're going through an illness, like, and this is their wee escape. Like my stage, my show, you're not going to be sitting on your phone, so like between me and my support acts, is a 2-hour show, so these people are coming a night out, they're having a wee escape for the world, and I like that a lot, that I can make people laugh for that length of time and they can go away feeling a bit better or be able to escape from whatever they're going through.
Aye, I suppose it's like a power as well for you to have, whether it's 20 people or 3,000 people all centred on you, and you're looking out and all you're seeing is happy, smiling faces, laughing. I mean, that's, you can't buy that. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of the things. Mate.
Do you want me to tell you the worst part of the trade? You always look at the cunt that's not smiling. Telling you, mate. Armadillo, mate. 3,000 people. I could take my eyes off a woman that absolutely hated me, mate. Honestly, do you think I'd jump off the stage and shot in a puss, mate? I'm not kidding. She just grilled at me the whole gig, and I just couldn't take my eyes off her. And that happens a lot of comedians, mate. Every comedian that happens to, you could be there in a room. It's like social media, mate. I struggle with social media a wee bit, and I could do a video, like the old film video, mate. I got heavy heat, and you could have like fucking 7,000 people going, "Oh, mate, I love this video, best video ever," and you have one guy, a lassie, just like, "This is absolute shite. This guy should stop doing comedy," like, and that's the one that sticks, mate. That's the one that sticks right in your fucking head.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Obviously, that was the next thing I was going to come on to. Obviously, with social media, there is massive positives with it sometimes, but I know from following you and being on your pages, there is an element of fucking morons as well. And how do you balance that yourself? What's your kind of coping mechanism with that?
None, mate. I struggle with it every time. I had a guy the other day. I put a joke on me. It was the one with the picture. My boss, I found a wasp nest up the loft, and my boss was sent us a picture of it, and I sent a picture of my face, like just smiling for a laugh. You know what I mean? And he's like, because obviously he knows I'm a pure idiot, so he's like, "A fucking idiot." Sent a picture. He didn't know I was kidding on, but I put it on Facebook, and it's done about 8,000-9,000 likes, and it's been seen by a million people. But there was this one guy just like fucking being pure horrible, and he's like shite, unfunny, like a wee bit more into it, and I just commented and says, "Mate, I don't know what you get for this. You know what I mean? I don't know what you get for this, but you've made me feel negative. So if that was your way of doing things, and you've achieved it." And had a kind of back and forward with the guy, and people were always sticking about it, and all that. People who also support me and they want me to do the best, but I don't put stuff on Facebook to make myself feel better. There's a bigger picture. Like, I do it to make people laugh. But I've not got a fucking, what would you call that? I've not got an opinion on Facebook. I'm not going on Facebook saying toys are all cunts because you don't feed Waynes, or S&P are cunts because they feed Waynes. Like, I just put stuff on as jokes. I don't get political. I don't fucking offend people. Like, but there's always just some negative troll. And the way I like to think it, mate, is hurting people hurt people. So that person's obviously going through something. So I try not to take it too personally and attack them. I try and hold my ladder a wee bit, but sometimes I just can't help it, mate, because I'm only human. I'm no perfect.
That's it. And I think it then goes back to what you were saying about, obviously, people that come to your gigs. I mean, you could put something on, but you could be having a shite day. Do you know what I mean? And it just takes that one comment to kind of throw you off your course. Do you know what I mean? And
it happens, mate. I could be sitting in my work and I'll see something horrible. Call me a fat cunt or something. If somebody said that to me in real life, I'd be like, "Oh, shut up, mate," and I would laugh it off and walk away. But for some reason, mate, I just can't take my mind off it, and I fixate on it. It ruins my fucking day, mate. Like, I'll genuinely sit in my work and be feeling pure anxious and been having a great day as well.
It's mental. I just don't understand why somebody would want to waste their energy replying to something that they don't like. It just fucking absolutely fries my brain that you'd take the time to do it just to be negative about it.
Especially when it's somebody you know who's going to see it. Maybe Britney Spears listens to your social media, but I see everything, and I reply to everybody a lot of times. And it put me off doing my videos, mate. I hadn't done my videos properly for ages. I completely stopped doing them. I was doing like one a month, if even that. One at one for a push. And it got to the point where I was like, do you know what? I just need to fucking keep punching at these videos, and because it is about sales, but it's also about getting a wee bit of fun in the city and a wee bit of daftness during all this fucking madness.
Aye. And do you see when you weren't doing it? Were you getting people messaging asking why you weren't doing it?
Not really, mate. No. People had commented like, "Oh, we need to get back on the videos," but there wasn't anybody saying you're right.
Aye.
People just assume that because you're a comedian, you're stronger than anybody else.
Aye, definitely.
People will message me about their mental health and they'll be like, "Oh, I wish I was like you." And obviously, if I see somebody saying I'm suicidal, I'll quite rapidly try and get them in contact with somebody and one of the charities I work with. But a lot of times I'll be like to the person, "Listen, mate, I don't know what the fuck you think I'm just some sort of strong human. Like I'm lying in my bed having a panic attack,
Aye.
Fighting about you, like going to phone this number. Stop talking to me.
Aye, exactly.
I want to make sure you're all right. Hurry up." You know what I mean? But
aye, but then I suppose that then goes back to the people have got these ideas that you're sitting in a house, big strong person, fucking millions of money in the bank, no worries in the world, which it just doesn't work like that. The picture that people have in their head isn't the reality for most of these people.
And I think that's because of social media. Like I'm going through a process now, but I'm going to delete a lot of things. So I'm going to delete maybe Instagram, Twitter. I deleted Snapchat. I'm going to delete TikTok. Like I just want to limit my time on it. I love Facebook, and I like Facebook because you can connect with everybody personally. But I've definitely in a season in my life now, like my marriage was completely broke up, and it still is completely broke up. Like we just completely fell apart, and I took my feet off the gas and let it dwindle away. So now I'm fighting to get my marriage back, and it's like I need to undistract myself. Like I need to stop being distracted with Twitter and fighting about people's comments on Instagram, and it's just a fakeness about it, mate. So this is a lot of Davey what I was saying last year when I was like, I'm maybe going to take a wee backseat to comedy, just take a couple of gigs a year, and I definitely feel like that is going to be I mean, if I get massive the norm, it's not going to affect how I'm feeling. Like my family's so important, and it's time now that I put them first. I spent a lot of my life putting comedy first and putting selling out shows first, and I lost everything, mate. Like I've literally I'm very lucky, mate. I'm still grounded, because I think if I wasn't grounded, I'd be more concerned about the social media likes and the shares and being famous. And honestly, mate, I couldn't give a fuck about it. Like I like the idea that I can do my anxiety stuff and it hits people. And helps people, you know what I mean? More than I like selling out a show. Like that's gone. I've done it. The Armadillo was a goal that I had brought. I read The Secret a couple of years ago, and I've written down the Armadillo, and even my wife was like, "You're gonna have your fucking head, go and write something realistic." And she didn't mean it in a sense that you could never achieve that. She was like, probably no hat. Probably didn't mean that actually, mate, when the more I think about it. But I done it, and it was like the top goal. So obviously one of the first two goals of my secret thing were like be a good dad, be a good husband, and I neglected that for the big goal. So now I've done the big goal, I need to put my family as the big goal now and make sure that always stays a goal. So that's why I used to gig all year long. I've cut my gigs down to 8 weeks now next year, and then the year after that it'll be 4 weeks, 2 weeks, and then maybe just do a hydro and just sit back. I'll always go on Facebook and do my videos. I love doing that. But
just have that interaction.
Night suit and all that. My wife's in the house and I'm out getting fucking smashed in Aberdeen and not coming home for 3 days. You know what I mean? Like that behaviour's got to go, and I've got to just kind of be a sounder person.
It's a balance, isn't it?
I'll no bullshit anybody and go, "Oh, I'm a great husband. I'm a great dad. Like I'm a great dad. I'll admit that. Like I love my veins and I've got that on head, but I wasn't a great husband, mate. Me and my wife split up, but on Tinder, met other lassies and moved on too quick, and I'm accountable to that now. I've got to think, fuck me, I need to crawl that. And my wife, she's such a strong woman. She's like, "Oh, fuck off, and there's a divorce. Like, take care," and that scared me, mate. So now I've got to gravel and fight for that back, and I'm willing to do that.
And that's the main thing. Do you know what I mean? That's the priority.
Fame's a poison chalice. And I had wished sometimes that I just stuck to the comedy clubs. But also I've achieved great things, and see if I can do that. See if I can get the fame, the big gigs, and remain because COVID's been great for me, mate. And I know it's been horrible to say that, and people have died, but I've had so much reflection through COVID that I want to change so much, and I've changed a lot. I've changed a lot. I've come back to myself a wee bit, and I just hope that next year I can continue to do that, and I can maybe chat you in a year's time and say, "Oh, mate, my fucking marriage is brilliant now. Like, we're back together, move back in again, and I'm back in my veins." So let's see what happens, mate, in it. But definitely, like, I've learned a lot this year, and it's been great and it's been bad, but mostly great. in the sense that you got self-development.
No, I totally agree with you, mate. I totally agree with you, and I don't doubt you'll do it. I really don't. I think, obviously, anybody that's honest enough to admit they know where the faults lie and they're trying to fix them, you've got to commend that. You've got to hold your hands up and say fair play.
Thank you, mate.
I'll throw this one out to you, but obviously I appreciate you've no time to prep for it, so if you don't have anything, I'll absolutely be fine with it. But everybody that comes on, obviously to try and keep this going, I'll always ask if they know anybody local who's fucking doing brilliant things, be it in anything, and they've got a story that's worth sharing, if they get a shout out or somebody that we can get in touch with to get on. So if you've got anybody, that'd be brilliant, but obviously if no, it's not a bother, mate.
I would. Does it need to be a celebrity or just anybody?
No, anybody, mate. Anybody at all.
I would maybe give Sharon at Royston Youth Action a wee shout.
Right.
Sharon or Ryan at the Glasgow Men's Mental Health Group. The boy Ryan took care of the group for me.
Right.
Well, I was struggling with the group, and I was like, Ryan, he was the main guy. So Ryan's took it on, and he's made it 10 times better. He's actually from Stirling, but he lives in Glasgow, and he runs the group in Gloop. He runs I'm thinking about fucking Charlie Chocolate Factory, Augustus Gloop. He runs the group in Springburn, mate, and he's done phenomenal things. He's made it accessible to women as well, and so definitely Ryan Coots, mate. Ryan's a great guy, and I think his story we were fearing because he's been through a lot, and I was with Ryan at the start when he started working on himself, and he's an inspiration, mate. And he took that group off of me and just ran with himself, and he's funded it and done great.
Brilliant. No, that's
he's volunteering. He volunteers at Royston Youth Action.
Right.
And Royston Youth Action, Sharon they're just a phenomenal team, mate, a proper skiing community team. And they've done so much for all their local wains. And I've seen it. I've been in doing the kind of mental health chat with them, and I think anybody that's involved in youth should be looking up to these people and kind of getting tips off them because they're absolutely phenomenal. They've just got a proper heart for the community, and there's no like they're not like for funding all the time. They're no begging lottery. They're just dead. They just get their head down and serve the community. So Royston Youth Action and Ryan Coots.
Brilliant. I'll get in touch with both of them. And last one, obviously, we'll end with a bit of humour. What's the worst heckle you've had? What's the time where somebody in the audience has just done you completely?
Worst I've had talking some belters. I don't know. I get to stand. What was the wee guy say? It was a kid's gig I done, man. I was going to actually jab the win. I was going to just full scale punch him. It's about 10. I said something. The wee guy had heckled us, mate, and I was like, I can't remember it. But I was on the lines. I went full scale rogue, and I was like, wee man, I'll be your next star. And he went, you won't know me my next star. And I says, how no? He said, because my man's not done a woman fatty. And it was just. It was a wee guy put down, mate, stupid wee 10-year-old voice, mate, just fucking, and I was like, I'm done with this, and I just walked off the stage, strapped the mic. I think I should have pumped your maw or something, like, which the stand didn't like, but, fuck him, mate, be arsehole in this, probably a serial killer or something, but he absolutely done as a belter. I done a gig in Berlin as well. I love the jail gigs, mate, jail gigs are phenomenal, and it's funny, because you think a jail gig's going to be fucking wild, and you think they're going to, like, eat you and shag you or something, but they don't. They're very pleasant, collective. It's weird, mate. It's an absolute weird environment. So you get all the common prisoners, like your car breakers. Obviously, they're criminals and they're being punished. But the dairy gigs every year at Christmas time, right? Because obviously, and people go, "Why are you doing prison gigs? That's no fair. That's terrible. They get free comedy." But you're really doing it for the prison officers. Because at Christmas time, all these guys or women are all absolute fucking irate and they're missing their families, and they take it out on the prison officers. So. They set up kind of some entertainment for them, Christmas entertainment, and it kind of keeps everybody happy. If they're well behaved, they get a ticket to the gig, and so there's great incentive to it. And I believe that there should be a system that should be breaking the offending cycle. My dad, it's funny, mate. I'm probably tell you this quickly, but Mario Da, I've never met, and I'm going to meet him next week for the first time in my life.
Wow.
Done a bank robbery and got fucking 14 years. So next week, obviously my stepdad had brought me up. My brother, my biological brother, had got in contact with me and says, listen, can you want to meet your dad? So I've always known that my dad was in the prison for a long time, being a wee boy, but I didn't know who he was. And so I've got a kind of heart for that stuff, so that can I break that re-effect? Because I was obviously the child of a prisoner. Yeah. And I never got to have a dad because my dad was a fucking nutcase and broke the law and deservedly so, got a sentence for it. So I do these jail gigs, mate. I absolutely love it. I used to do them and think, what if I meet my dad? I don't know if he's still in the jail or not. It turns out he's not. He's in fucking Fife or something. That's probably worse than the jail. But I done this gig in Mallory, and the prison officer came up to me and he says, right, big man, there's fucking 2 guys in the front row. They're the kind of jack your lads. They're very, very serious criminals.
Mm-hmm.
If they heckle you, don't heckle them. And I was like, no bother, mate. I'll not say it. And like fucking, so I'm up on the stage, mate, and the big Ian's heckled me, didn't he? Like fucking, he looked like he'd been slashed with one of the, see the things you call the leaves, see like the leaf things.
Aye, like the rake.
Would you call it, like a rake? He looked like he'd been slashed with a rake, mate. Fucking more scars than I've ever seen. It was something fucking Halloween, you know what I mean? And he heckled me, and I was like, you fucking talk to that. Sorry, we dead to wrong. You go, guy, boy. Proud as fuck, big man. They're all buzzing, know what I mean? I've heckled the fucking 2 hardest guys in the jail. And the guy's like, I'm talking to you on that. And I'm like, well, fucking, when you get out, mate, as if I was going to fight with him. And he's like, 5 years. And I said, well, see you for the next 5 years. All you've got to know is how about that side of that jail, drinking pints, eating KFC and shagging your missus, right? And the whole place, mate, screws are all like, calm down, sit down. They're all like, fucking yeah. This guy was sitting absolutely fuming, right? And then his pal heckled me. And I went, when you getting it? He went, 3 weeks, mate. And I'm like to him, you are a gobble. Absolutely shat myself. I was like, me and you could go and shag his missus, make it full of KFC. But that would be the worst times, mate, because even I was replying back to guy and having a laugh at me, I was fucking shaking.
Full fear.
I was actually holding the mic and physically shaking. Mental, mate. But the jail gigs are brilliant, you know what I mean?
That's a baptism of fire, isn't it?
I mean, you do Greenock, and sometimes we'll get half the rooms the women prisoners and half the rooms the guy prisoners.
Right.
And this big fucking mental case woman, fucking just like a bun, see, like a junkie bun, or I hate saying the word junkie, mate. Like an addict bun, we call it now. With like a skinhead, she just looked like a fucking something American Horror Story. Right. And she's just started getting his pure dogs abuse.
What, before you'd even started?
No, this is when I was on stage. She just started giving me pure cheek. She's like, I've been in here 10 years and I still wouldn't shag you. It was fucking, mate, it was funny though. I mean, she was fucking rapid, mate. I couldn't get by the witch. And what was it I says? And I went fucking, so the women were wearing like blue jumpers and the guys were wearing red jumpers. And I was like, should you know wearing a red jumper, mate? Because you're a bit fucking manly looking to be sitting with the woman, you know what I mean? So I was just, mate, and I just couldn't get by her, mate. She's like, should you not be sitting with the woman, you fucking pussy? Just there we go. Oh, mate, she was rapid, mate, and it got to the point where I just gave up. And I was like, right, she's funnier, and she got a round of applause, mate, and I walked off the stage. But the jails are brilliant, because what happens is obviously it's normally Christmas time, and what they do is, if they're well behaved, they get a gig and they get a curry. They get a curry anyway, but it's just a fucking shitty jail curry. It's not like, they're not getting poppadoms, mate. Mango chutney, not like getting lizard and fucking snake eyes, you know what I mean? But they get some sort of watery curry, and then they get a comedy show, so the spirits are good, mate, they're sober. And what I try and do is I try and do a lot of new material, because see if it lands well in a jail, mate, and it's always worked. If I take a joke that's fucking smashed it in a jail, I'll put it in a comedy club, mate, and the place in a pure uproar. Because it's on drunk people now, you know what I mean? And the sober fucking serial killers have loved it. But it's mental, mate. I took my agent, we done Greenock, and the one of the main screws are the prison officers. Call them screws if you're an ed. Screws is a term they get used, but prison officers, so people listen to that, the fuck's a screw? Like, see you talk about a joiner or something? A screw is what you call a prison officer. So the screw would say to me, Gary, listen, we're in the jail, do the gig. I do it for nothing, you know what I mean? And we're in a gig, we'll give you a tour of the prison. Now my agent's pure posh, mate. So we brought up a proper, like, Nobel Hill, what's that bit called? Where the Tunnock's Tea Cakes place is.
Uddingston,
mate, right? Proper posh. David's like, oh, hearty, talks like that, mate. It's fucking it's a big cheese board, mate, right? And I was mad with it the night before, mate. And I was like, mate, go take me to this fucking prison, mate. I can't drive. I don't want to get to jail. And obviously, being on who I'm, mate, I get in the press, I'm fucked. So he's like, right, I'll come and get you. And he takes me to jail. And he's like, oh my God, I don't know how you could actually go into a prison. Like, I'd be terrified. And I'd managed to talk him into coming into the visiting room. Right. But I knew for a fact I was going to take him into jail. And so I was like, come with, mate. He's like, no, that's not my kind of thing. I don't want to go in. I'm like, no, go and just come in, because you'll need to sign a contract about me doing this gig. And so, mate, I fucking lied through my teeth to him. I got him in the gig, mate, and I did a search and all that, and gave us a pass, taking our phones off us, put them in a locker. and I could see him puzzling, but I just kept talking to the guy. The guy was walking us into the jail. He couldn't get a chance to say to the guy, "Oh, I'm just here to sign the contract and I'll get away." So I nipped the guy's head, and then all of a sudden, mate, we're standing in the middle of the exercise yard, and David's looking about and he's like, "Oh, is this the part of the prison?" And the guy's like, "Aye, mate, you're in the exercise yard." And then all the cons came out with their footballers ready to play five-a-side.
Brilliant.
But we were in the hall, mate. We were in one of the halls in Greenock, and I was just fucking. I'm a pure sponge for information, so I'm in this jail and I'm asking the guy, "Oh, what's you ever seen any of the cons try to shag you, big man?" And fucking just asking the guy pure stupid questions. And before that, the guy had says, "Listen, we need to be quick in here because the cons come back for the lunch at 12:30." So I'm asking all these daft questions, and I can see David looking at his watch. So I've looked at my watch and it's like 12:24, and I'm like, I'm going to keep asking this guy questions so I can see all the prisoners. You know what I mean? So so they took us into so I spoke, and they were all coming in and out, and the guys, "Listen, we'll go into the cookhouse to let the majority of the prisoners come by, because obviously we're two civilians and they're worried about us." So they've took us into the caffeine where they're all sitting, the canteen where they're all sitting getting their dinner, and there's a wee addict serving the food, and he's like, "Oh my God, man, here's that mad Gary Faulds." And they're all they're all clapping, "Oh, Gary Faulds, in the jail like a fucking fat Johnny Cash, mate, like, that was happening, boys." And the screw had said to the wee guy, "How the fuck do you know who Gary Faulds is? You've been in here for 4 years." So we found out the wee guy had a phone in the jail or something. The guy's like, "I need to search him. He should know who you are." So obviously they've all got phones in the jail. The wee guy stuck himself in.
Oh man.
And the fight broke out. A fight broke out in the hall, and they locked us in a fucking. And they like the hairdresser. They have like hairdressers to that in the jail.
Right.
Because they do all different things, like barbers, hairdressers, like. And they just locked us in this room, and David standing, pointing at my face, shouting and bawling at me like, "I don't want to come in this prison. I do not want to be in this environment. It's very, very dangerous." And we can hear two guys outside getting club fucky half a screw, you know what I mean? I'm like, "All right, mate, we're all right." You hear people screaming, running by the hall. Fuck you. But he's never kept a gig with me since. But
No wonder.
I thought my contract was getting ripped up after that. I thought he was raging. It was actually pale white. Because I'm starting trying to cheer him up. Like, "Oh, there's a Nuts magazine. I've never seen one here." You know what I mean? And you can hear the guy outside get club fucky, and he's like, "That man's getting that. You're part of this." And I'm like, "Mate, you're not going to get kept in the jail."
Oh, tremendous.
Honestly, mate, but he's some boy, man.
Oh,
you listen to this and you fucking get flashbacks.
Oh man, I love how we started off at a wee 10-year-old there in a comedy club to being in a prison.
That's what happens, mate. What's that? About 20 minutes of chatting. That's what I do at gigs, mate. Fucking talk about punch. It's funny that, innit? I want to lamp a 10-year-old and end up in jail talking about jail. No kidding, mate. I would have cracked that wee guy. See that wee guy's front row, mate? He'd have just got bitch slapped. He'd be like, "Oh, sorry, I was trying to grab my mic." Fucking strangling him with it. Honestly, mate. Pure. I can't remember what he says, mate, but I was that raging, mate. I couldn't process in my head what he'd said to me. But it was like, you wouldn't pop mama because she's not a dinner woman. It was something horrible. His stupid wee fucking Neddy 10-year-old voice.
The red mist is just coming down.
Where you fee? She getting that pure gang right. I'm just remembering the wee dick. But aye, wee dick.
Tremendous, Gary. I can't. That's been an hour and 10 minutes. I cannot believe that. Honestly. Oh, so good, mate. I honestly cannot thank you enough for coming on. I know you're a busy man.
Anytime, mate. Listen, when you get a chat next year, so I want to see if my marriage has worked out or no.
Of course it will. I've no doubts, mate.
Fucking hope it does, mate.
I've no doubts at all. And obviously, when the comedy starts back up, you'll be back smashing it. No doubts about it at all. I think your honesty's brilliant, and I think that's why you've got so many people who follow you, so many people rooting for you, and just keep being you, mate. Honest to God, I think you're absolutely smashing it. And we'll definitely get a follow up next year when you're counting your millions.
I look forward to it, mate. Millions.
I'll find that wee guy and we'll get the follow up interview with him on it as well.
Aye, and Berlin, that's where he is, he wee cunt.
Oh, mate, all the best. Thank you very much again.
Have a great night, bro.
Cheers, mate. Take care, alright?
Bye bye.
Cheers, bye bye.